All right, so man, I've tried to like record this video like multiple times now. Um, I tried recording this video outside, and I mean, literally, like, my cats kept interrupting me, and like there was like this loud like fighter jet just like flew straight overhead. So I just decided to come back inside. But yeah, like this video's topic, I think the title of the video is going to be hard work versus long work, right? Like basically like consistency versus intensity, right? And I've made a video about this before, but I just wanted to sort of reiterate and also like talk about some extra things that I think are important, right? Which is that basically, right, like to sort of start off, right? Basically, you know, hard workers always burn themselves out, right? Hard workers always like they always start off really strong. They always start off with a lot of intensity, a lot of motivation, a lot of willpower, but they always crash and burn at some point. And I've seen this happen, with a lot of time, and I've even seen this happen like with me, like where basically it's like other people will tell me that they're going to do something, or other people are like they'll tell me that, oh, like I'm really motivated, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, right? But then what ends up happening is that like 1 week, 2 weeks later, that like they've just completely forgotten about whatever it is that they were going to do. And it's the same thing with um it's like whenever I tell people that I'm going to do something, I'm the type of person like I'm still doing it. Like a month later, like I tell them again, it's like, oh yeah, you said this before. Like they act like sort of like annoyed almost, which I mean, like I can kind of understand, but at the same time, it's kind of crazy how small people's attention spans have become, right? And it's not just, I don't think it's just social media. I think like all generations, it seems to have this short attention span of just like not being able to work long, right? Like I said, hard work versus long work, right? And just I'm just looking at my notes here. I just don't want to be scatterbrained for this video. Um, but yeah, I mean, like hard workers burn themselves out, and and what happens, right, is that like yet again, it's like they think that life is like a training montage, right, in like an '80s movie, or they think that life is like a training montage where it's like they're gonna work out or something for 9 hours straight, and then just immediately get like the movie star muscles, right, and like but that's like literally like the opposite's true. It's like it's literally the boring stuff that seems to get results for some reason, and it's literally like the most boring, like you it's like brushing your teeth, it's like taking a shower, it's like doing like the most boring, the most but the most sustainable stuff seems to be like it's like a cheat code. It's like it's absolutely insane. And like one of the things that I've noticed is that like in order to establish habits, one of the things that I'll do is I'll lowball my efforts. I'll choose some amount of work. It's literally so easy. It's like so easy to do that like I can envision myself doing that amount of work like 365 days, like the next year, right? And what's crazy is that like if you try establish a frequency, right? If you think about it like in energetic terms, like you're refining an energy, right? That's what a routine is, right? That's what like the habit is, right? That's what like like the purpose of a workout every day is. It's you're refining a certain energy. If you want to look at like the hermetic principles, right? It's like the law of rhythm. It's like circadian rhythm, right? Where it's like you go to sleep for 8 hours a night, and that's a rhythm. That's a routine. And what's crazy is that basically simply establishing that frequency in your life, or like simply establishing that frequency, that routine in your life seems to get results just on its own. Like the hard work, like the intensity, right? Like the amount of hard work that you can tolerate, every single day, that seems to take care of itself, right? And it's super weird. To give an example, like I decided to pick up the habit of reading from a book a day. Just I wanted to read every day, right? And so, and what I was doing before, and like this is why like the habit never stuck, is what I was doing before is that I was basically trying to read like a section a day. I was trying to read a chapter every single day, and what ended up happening is that like I was able to establish like the 7 days a week reading from a book by basically saying I wanted to read like a paragraph a day, which is like to me that's like stupid small, right? Like a single paragraph that like takes less than a minute, right? But once I established that frequency, basically I was able to read from a book every day, and very rarely did I read just one paragraph. I read like 2-3 pages every single day, and there were some days where like I would read just a paragraph because like I didn't feel like doing it. I'm like, oh, what the fuck? I don't feel like doing this right now, right? But I did the minimum amount, right? And you can think of it like a heartbeat, right? It's like having a pulse is better than no pulse, right? Like if your heartbeat's like erratic, right? If your heart beats like if you flatline, if you don't have a pulse, if you don't have a frequency, then your brain's not going to have it's not going to stick with the routine. It's not going to stick with the habit if it doesn't have a boom 1 2 3, boom 1 2 3, boom. It's like a metronome, where it's almost like the Energizer Bunny, right? From like the Energizer commercials, right? It just keeps on going. It's just boom, 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 and that sort of establishment of a frequency, that refinement of the energy, like it increases the workload, right? It increases your capacity to do that kind of work, to do more of it. And and one of the cool things about this also is that like I noticed, and like this is where it gets like really like it's very much like a cheat code, right? Because what happens is that there's like these insane like boosts in performance that you get, like that if you just show up and if you repeat yourself enough times, right? It's like if you refine the energy, right? It's almost like refining, like a metal ore until you get like the pure mineral. Like if you do that enough times, there's just random boosts, and I just want to, and like one example that I can talk about is whenever I was running in order to lose weight. Basically, like, I was trying to like to the end of my street and back is like about 1 mile, right? So it's like half a mile one way, half a mile the other way, back to my house, right? And what ended up happening is that like at first, I mean, obviously I had like my asthma, I had my I was trudging down the street, I was wheezing, like I felt like I was gonna die, like I barely ran anything, but I traversed the distance of a mile like every single day, like I traversed the amount every single day. Like and what eventually happened, which is super weird. What eventually happened was I ran 1 mile, and I got to the end of that mile, and I'm like, oh, okay, like this feels like a little bit too easy for some reason. And so it was literally just one random day, like it struck like lightning, where I decided to run a second mile for the first time, and running 2 times a day became my new normal, and then it just kept increasing, exactly like that. Where like yet again, if you repeat the process enough times, if you refine the energy enough times, it's almost like you get this random boost. It's almost like if you know how electrons orbit an atom, right? It's like they jump energy levels if they achieve a certain frequency, right? They elevate their frequency, they elevate their energy level, and it's like that. And that's exactly what happened to me with running. And I've been getting into body weight training recently, and this happened with like my pull-ups. Or there was a time where I could barely do 5 pull-ups without feeling like I was gonna die, like But then, like literally, there was just like this one random day where I just did five. I cranked out 5 pull-ups, and it felt a little too easy, right? And then I just did 10 in a row. I just out of nowhere. It was like it just pulled straight out of the ether that I was just able to do 10 in a row now, which is absolutely insane. And these types of like these energy boosts, it's almost like if you've watched like Dragon Ball Z, right? It's almost like you get like a Zenkai boost, right? Like after each like near death experience, right? Like Goku and Vegeta, right? They get like the Zenkai boost, right? Like, and that seems to be the same thing that just happens if, yet again through the repetition, not through the intensity, right? Yet again, the intensity takes care of itself, right? Just like it did with running, like the intensity, the workload of running 2 miles instead of one, like that just took care of itself for some reason. And so, you know, if you want to sort of, and this is where we get into, like I wanted to talk about like the curve basically. Like there's like this sort of progression where like people are extremely motivated at the start, and then like as like the hype dies down, like the motivation sort of dips at like 50%, and then like it starts going back up once you get the results that you were looking for, right? But so like that's like the curve. It's almost like the Dunning Kruger effect, but for like motivation, right? And and what I've decided to do now is like any time that I want to like establish a habit or establish a routine or like create a frequency, right? Establish a certain energy in my life, right? Well, like what I've decided to do is basically to just skip the hype entirely and just like lowball my efforts, right? Yet again, it's like I'm deciding on something that's like so small, so infinitesimal that I can just do it, 7 days a week, right? Yet reading a paragraph a day, like a paragraph, like what the fuck is a paragraph? Like that's nothing. But you establish the frequency, you establish the energy, the heart rate, like the pulse of just I show up, I open the book, I read some of its contents every single day, right? And that seems to be the sort of the key to getting to getting the results. It's not about hard work, it's about long work. It's about who's left after 3 months, who's left after 6 months, who's left after a year, after 2 years, after 5 years of doing the process, of showing up and doing the thing. And yet again, the repetition increases the workload, increases the intensity, right? Just over time, hard work takes care of itself. You just need to show up. You need to repeat. You need to establish the rhythm, establish the frequency, in order to create this energy that just grows and grows and grows. It's like a snowball effect. It's like there's like this exponential growth that just happens, and like the energy just keeps growing and growing and growing and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? Until eventually, it's like one day you look in the mirror and it's like, holy shit, I've gotten the results, right? And it's just I think it's just this was just something that's just been on my mind where it's just like basically like it's like a cheat code, right? Because basically what you're doing is instead of taking the traditional wisdom of it's about hard work, it's about intensity, right? What you're doing is you're turning like this huge thing that you want to do, right? What you're doing is essentially you're turning that into something as simple as brushing your teeth every single day, right? Showering, eating, sleeping, right? And I mean, it's almost like in order to like brush your teeth every day, it's like you don't have to watch 3 hours of Joe Rogan, Jocko Willink, Dwayne the Rock Johnson, workout motivation. Like you don't need to watch that to brush your fucking teeth, right? And it's the same thing for any energy that you want to create in your life, for any energy, any frequency that you want to create in your life. Is you want to start off this big thing that you want to do, this huge thing that you want to do. You want to start off with something as small as that's basically as small as a paragraph a day, right? It's as small as like doing 5 push-ups a day, right? It's as small as brushing your teeth every single day. It's not a matter of whether or not you're motivated or not. It's just a matter of just showing up and you tick the box, you fulfill the quota, you hit quota 7 days a week, right? And that seems to be the cheat code. That seems to be the cheat code that gets you just results out of nowhere. Like, how do you get results without trying, right? How do you like manifest things in your life without trying? Is you show up every single day. You create the energy using the frequency, right? It's almost like resonant frequency. It's like the walls of Jericho, right? It's like like circadian rhythm, right? It's like eating 30 days worth of food in the first day of the month doesn't feed you for a month, right? Eating one day's worth of food every day for a month that feeds you for a month. It's the same thing. Like, you don't brush your teeth extra hard and for like one day and then not brush your teeth for like the rest of the month, right? It's the frequency that seems to be the cheat code, right? So you don't have to, like, struggle and grind and work hard and do all this crazy shit in order to manifest things, in order to create a certain energy in your life. It's not about hard work, it's about long work, right? It's about how long can you go, how can you sustain the tempo of what it is that you're doing, right? Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that today. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Yeah, I think that's the video.